gosh, it is so peaceful out here. Not a care in the world, sun in the sky, Spanish moss in the trees. I am home. Or at least for a little while. What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with another fun-filled vlog. And I will say, there's quite a transition between North Carolina and Florida. And I'll tell you all why. I just wrapped up my birthday road trip series. 3rd annual, had a lot of fun, went to West Virginia, went to North Carolina. It was awesome. And yes, while it was awesome, I made my way home, made a few videos for the 2nd and the 3rd channel. And now I am down here in Florida. You all are probably wondering why. Well, my friend Lee Giot, who runs Flying Ostrich Media, he has gotten the opportunity to film a commercial that will be aired on Hulu and during the Iceman games. So anyway, he made the post. He needed background actors, and I took it while I could. This is a perfect opportunity to see my friends again and to work on the acting resume, even though I'd just be a background actor. But I'll tell you, that is definitely a resume booster if you are wanting to get into acting. And since I'm down here, I'm actually talking in the way of how I used to talk in the beginning days of my channel. By the way, for those who often like to critique me on how I talked in my older videos, just know that the reason why I talk like that, if you want to know the mystery, it's because I didn't want to say or 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 ah or anything like that. I wanted to be, what's the word? I wanted to be punctual. There we go. I wanted my words to get out there. So if you're wondering about that, yes, that is how that works. But I'm not here for that. Just recently, as of the filming of this video, I have reached 7,000 subscribers. 7,000 of you guys like watching my videos, and I can't tell you all how much that means to me, that people love tuning in every 4 days or every week or so to see what I'm doing in my adventures. So I figured, you guys, since we have hit a milestone, by the way, couldn't have done it without you guys, we're gonna take a walk down memory lane. We're gonna take a walk back in time to the origins of Dream Poet. If you've kept up with me long enough, you all will know that the original idea behind my channel when I started it in 2019 was to buy a sailboat, move to Florida, vlog every single day of my life here in Florida. And well, I figure we'll look at those places that I went to so very long ago when my YouTube channel was budding. I was really trying to get my name out there. I was trying to make contacts with people like Tampa J or Jackie from Super Enthused, or even Adam the Woo, because around this time he was making his way back down to Florida. But anyway, you guys, this is the genesis of my channel, and it begins right here. Now, as a refresher, I bought a sailboat in 2019 of I believe it was April. It was April of 2019 that I bought my sailboat and I moved down here. I found it, or my friend initially found it on Craigslist when he was down here with me looking for apartments. But when I got down here, the boat manager would not take my check at the time, just because it was out of state and there was a lot of money to it. And it was here at these benches that I had a phone call with my mom, trying to figure out what could we do. I had entrusted her with that money in her account, and we were just trying to figure out what could happen. I know my mom was freaking out more than I was, But I was sitting here at this bench having that conversation. I was freaking out, figuring I had made a really bad decision and I was down in Florida by myself with no money. But I mean, times change, as you all can tell. I mean, things have really changed since then. We got everything situated, and anyway, yeah, this is where I sat when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my boat. And along with that, Alpine Groves Park has a very special place in my heart. This is where I used to come all the time when I didn't know anybody. This is where I used to go when I was trying to find myself, when I'd hit the reset button on my life and I was wanting to get my book written. I wanted to get my YouTube channel off the ground. I wanted to make a decision on my life to do something outright incredible. So we're gonna walk around Alpine Groves a little bit before we go on to another spot. I mean, there's just a lot of places that were my stomping grounds here when I lived in Florida. And I just gotta say, the people who run the park, this horse stable is in a lot better condition than I remember. I remember last time I was here, which was about 3 years ago, they didn't have any of this. I mean, it was mostly just empty horse stables. But now they've got a horse and buggy. Actually, they got 2 buggies. They are really nice looking too. Well, this has changed a lot. Although, right as I left in 2021, they had already torn this building down that used to be here. There used to be an old abandoned building. And I did go inside it once. I don't know, it was one of my earlier vlogs that I did here on this channel. But it's open. Like, they got rid of all the brush and everything else, and it's just gone. And speaking of early vlogs, this is actually where I filmed my very first one. Day 1 living in Florida. You see, as everything had been settled with getting my boat, there was one more important thing that I needed. That was a job. And well, my mom was freaking out about that too. Me, I was sitting in my truck eating at Wendy's. I went inside and I asked a girl at the front, are they hiring? And she said yes. Her name was Jayla. She turned out to be a really good friend of mine. But as all the paperwork from my job down here got started, finished up, I came down here to this walkway. I also found a stingray that day. That was really cool. It's very interesting to think way back when I was so skinny. Times really do change. And they tore all this out. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think they might be working on the erosion control, because way back when I used to come here a lot, like, all the trees would fall like that way into the river. And anyway, it got kind of scary after a while. But when I was having a mental breakdown back in 2020, back when the unpleasantness was happening, I used to come here a lot to calm my nerves, even though there were some times I wouldn't sleep for days. This was my happy place. And it's still so much more peaceful than, like I say, this is probably one of the most peaceful places you can come to in North Florida. And now this makes me happy. Now, before I left Florida, they had covered this off to people getting in, mainly because it was like at a time before before even I arrived and moved into Florida. This is where people used to take their kayaks, and they used to bring them down here, and they used to put them in and kayak in the area. Now, I don't know what happened, but it actually used to be a Boy Scout build, or a Boy Scout walkway. It was an Eagle project. Yeah, during the summers and the spring, especially when the water was down, kind of like that you see here, you could walk out all the way to the pier and you would still only be about knee deep. It was really cool. That's one of the things that I miss about it. Looks like they're, oh yeah, so yeah, it is erosion control. Well, who knows, maybe they'll leave an opening. I hope they'll leave the opening so people can come out here still. I do remember this, but there was this one kid that was really marking up the place, like with graffiti and stuff. I don't know if they ever caught him, but I mean, he did do a number. Looks like nobody has made any marks, so I guess that's a good thing. Well, not I guess, that is a good thing. And I don't know if you can see that, but there is a crab running amongst the shallow water. Oh, this is beautiful. I miss this place. Feels like you're just looking at an ocean, although it's just the St. Johns River. I'm not sure if this is like the most, I think this is probably the most open here in the river. Still, it's a really beautiful place. And I'm kind of glad that they're controlling the erosion, because it got really bad in 2021. So it probably got worse back then. But it's good to see that they're doing a lot of this work. This is a really beautiful place. Now we're gonna look at the historical side behind Alpine Groves. You see, this used to be an orange plant, or I guess you could say an orange plantation. This is where they used to ship oranges up and down the St. Johns River. But this is an orange house. I believe it would be the plantation house. Right over here, that's the orange sorting shed. That's where they used to do all their sorting and whatnot. Actually, I think the orange plantations here in this area, I think they went under sometime in the 30s. I might be wrong, but what got them were a lot of major freezes, and that's kind of what did the market in this location. Now, if you go down more south, you'll see that there are quite a few orange plantations, like in the near Tampa and those areas. But looks like they've really recreated the place. Actually, here are some pictures of what the farmhouse looked like. This is the Harris Bennett house. It's not a plantation house, it's a farmhouse, my bad. This is what it looked like back in 2005, when it was in disrepair and falling apart. And then this is when it was fixed and the property was raised and was built with a better foundation in 2007. And this is when they began the reconstruction in 2007. So this is the Harris Bennett house's story. And it looks like they've got more furniture. I'm kind of wondering if maybe they let people go inside now. So that probably means that eventually the orange sorting, gosh, I can't say that without a straight face. An orange sorting shed. There we go, an orange sorting shed. Looks like this one might be the next thing that they'll probably work on. Alpine Groves, citrus fruit. And this is new. So I'm glad that they've kept people out on this one, because for a while there it looked like it was getting pretty dangerous. Somebody probably could have gotten hurt, but they are fixing it. And that tractor that they got right there used to be right there. And they've also opened this area up too. You know, like there used to be this entire fence used to cover this entire spot. Now, when I lived here in Florida, there were 2 parks, well actually technically 3, that I used to frequent. And now that we've seen Alpine Groves Park, we're gonna head across the bridge into Mandarin, and we are going to check out, you know, it's bad when you forget the name of the park, but it was another park I used to go to, and it holds another special place in my heart. A lot of memories there as well, so that's where we're gonna head next. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of this park, but I used to come here all the time, mainly because Mandarin Holiday Marina is right across the way from this park. And it actually used to be a part of the Andrew family property. Now, the Andrew family, they were the ones who own the marinas like right over here. But from my understanding, they're, well, the late Charlie Andrew, who was the owner of Mandarin Holiday Marina, from what I understood from the guys at the marina, is that his grandfather came here, I think he came down from up north somewhere, and he sat on the land, and eventually he claimed it. Now, as time goes on, people pass. Actually, Charlie passed away in 2022. I hate that I didn't get to see him at least once before he passed, or at least sooner. But anyway, this part of the Andrew family, or this particular property of the Andrew family, became a park. And I used to come here all the time, and I used to just come around and just screw about on my days off when I didn't really have any money to my name, but yet I still wanted to vlog. And this was the area I used to come and mess around, along with Walter Jones Historical Park, this park, and Alpine Groves. In fact, if you go to my earlier videos, I think it was like the first week that I was here in Florida, living here, I came here and I explored the area. And I will say, for the most part, it looks like they have new signs, but you have people that have, well, left their mark on it. I still don't understand why people feel the need to graffiti stuff. It's not pretty. It makes a place look really bad. And here is well, here's a bit more history, like we saw at Fruit Cove. This kind of explains the area. And this is one thing that I didn't know up until the last few days that well, I won't say last few days, maybe the second year living in Florida. But this was Harriet Beecher Stowe's winter home in the area of Mandarin. And near the end of my time here in Florida, I used to come here and I used to sit and I used to think about my future. Like what the future held. I was wondering if my time here was a failure. Right around this time, I had the issue with my heart, and I really didn't know what to think about it. Luckily, the problem is not as bad as it could be. Anyway, it's just an SVT. But I used to sit here and I used to think, you know, that I screwed up. Like, I felt like I was going nowhere. I'd failed on a big project. My channel at the time was only 220 subscribers, maybe 250. I just felt like, you know, nothing was coming into fruition. I had finished my book, but I wasn't happy with it. And Around this time, I sent it to people who I thought would read it just to get their input, and not many people did. I mean, there were only like maybe like 2 people, but I fixed the issues that they were saying what was wrong with my book. Right now it's going around to other agents to see if maybe they would take it. And I think we'll explore some of the new spots that they have here at the park. When I got here, I saw that they had really fixed up a lot of things. Like they even have a paddleboard station. So that's one thing that I really do want to check out. Yes, I kind of wish that they had this when I was here, but they didn't. But yes, you can rent paddleboards, and you also can rent kayaks. This kind of sucks, but you know what? Hindsight is 20/20. But you can rent one, you can paddle around. That's kind of cool that they have this and it's locked up. But where we're standing, this was another spot that I used to sit around at, where I used to ponder the mysteries of the future and where I wanted to go. And I kind of wonder, nah, I was gonna say maybe you could slide down on that, but I don't think it works that way. But from here, you can go down, you can put your kayak in or your paddle board, and you can just have fun. Man, this is beautiful out here. You got a boat launch, place where you can sit down. I miss it. I really miss it. There's actually a fun fact. I used to magnet fish just off this pier right here. I will tell you, I found some very interesting things that have come off that dock. I remember one video I made, there was a guy who lost his iPhone 10 at the time. For the life of me, I wanted to find it, but it's obvious I didn't find it. Kind of sucks, but well, you know, what can you do? But I think we're going to get back on the road. We're gonna just go up the road like maybe 2 minutes away, probably not even that, and we're going to go to a few spots that are very, very special in my heart, very sentimental, and have played a major part in my story, my origin story here in Florida. And real quick, before we check out those spots, I just want to note this is Mandarin Dental. I will say this is the best dentistry in all of Florida. I mean, I know some people might say different things, but this dental office was amazing. Dr. Hanania was the one who fixed my tooth and gave me a crown. The one tooth that cracked a while back. But anyway, I just wanted to note that Mandarin Dental, or Mandarin Dental Associates, this place is awesome, and shout out to you, Dr. H. By the way, he was also once a professor at the University of Florida. Really, really great guy. Now back on the trail of my origins. There's chemtrail up above. Not sure if you all can see that. But here in this general spot, this is where a lot of my daily life took place. You see this gate right here? Every single morning that I used to wake up, I used to get a fruit cup, I used to get a Cabani yogurt, don't like people like that, got a pizza, I got my drink, I mean, and also when I worked at Wendy's, which is this Wendy's right over here, the exact same one, I also used to eat the salads. For that entire 3-year span of my life, I probably ate the healthiest that I've ever eaten. And it was nice. But, well, then life happens and you get medicated and, well, it is what it is. But anyway, in this general spot, This is where I used to do so many things that were a part of my daily life. And in fact, I remember like one video that I had that did the best, like really well, back in the early days of my channel. It actually had to deal with this this retention pond. As you can see, there is a lot of wildlife here, because you can see Mr. Turtle coming up right here. But there was a flat-headed, oh look, no, he's still there, look. Anyway, he is a flat-headed, anyway, gosh, he's a big boy still. Actually, I think he's grown a bit. But these guys have like really long necks, and I also hear that they got a really nasty bite. But he's been in this retention pond forever, even like when I was here, and I think he must enjoy it. He's got plenty of food. He's just swimming, minding his own business. He is a very, very large turtle. Looks like he's got a friend too. Or maybe he's just going off and doing his own thing. Hey buddy, how you doing? But honestly, no joke, gas station food is the healthiest food I've ever eaten. That's kind of weird to say. But I used to get like I said, I used to eat like a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies for a very long time. I was doing pretty well. So now let's drive over to Wendy's, because that also is another very interesting story to tell. This was the first job that I ever had. And there is an interesting story how I got this first job. You see, it was my first day living in Florida. I had just gotten the boat. We had a bit of financial problems with getting the money situated to pay for the boat. And I was freaking out. And actually, where this white Nissan is, that's where my truck was. But I remember I walked into the building. I asked a girl named Jayla if they were hiring. Then I met Mary Crowley, who gave me an application, told me to apply. So I applied, didn't think much of it. I had to go back into Cleveland to get my stuff situated. And right as I crossed the Georgia state line, I get a phone call from Mary saying, hey, do you want an interview? And I was like, yeah, I'd be more than happy to take an interview. So I took it. And for the first 2 years, this was my job. This was where I made a lot of my money. And this is where I made a lot of friends that have become family. Like Angela, Joey, Angela, Joey, Jayla, Mary. I don't know what happened to Mary. I need to see what she's doing. I know she took a manager's position down at a Wendy's in St. Augustine. You had Chris and Steven, who, and Jim, and Lee, all of them are like family to me, and it all started here at this particular Wendy's. In fact, I remember when Hurricane Dorian came in, my grandfather gave me a phone call that was rather scary, telling me to get back into Cleveland. Although I did not do that, I ended up spending the night with Chris and Steven and the family, the Jelena family. Like I said, they took me in as one of their own. But anyway, you guys, this place is very, very special to me. This is my first job, the first place where I made all my friends, and where I had a lot of my first memories in Florida. It happened at this roadside Wendy's. Very interesting, very cool. A lot of good times, a lot of bad times. It was actually in this parking lot where I had a really bad panic attack when the unpleasantness happened in 2020. That was not fun. But now that we've seen this, we're going to drive down the road, and we're going to go to another place that I used to frequent quite often. Now at this next spot, you all might see what is in front of you as a Winn-Dixie. Well, you see, it never used to be a Winn-Dixie. Actually, in 2019 to about 2020, this was an Earth Fair. And why it is so special and my origin is when I first started here living in Florida, I didn't know anybody. And what I used to do is I used to get online, I used to use their Wi-Fi, And I used to watch YouTube videos. And even sometimes I would watch Stranger Things. And well, that's where, this is the building where I saw nearly all of Stranger Things season 3. If not all, I can't remember. I think I saw all of it in this building while just sitting by myself watching TV. Well, really not so much TV streaming. But another cool thing is about Earth Fair at the time is they had like a lot of free samples. And when I didn't have a lot of money, I would eat the free samples. And really, since there was no limit, well, there you have it. And I also used to go into this PetSmart a lot. They had a lot of really cool things that I want to say. Like, and this was, like I said, this was my first week living in Florida, or first few years living, well, first year or so. Few things here along San Jose Boulevard that I remember. Some of them not so good, some of them good. This pawn shop was both good and bad. Well, maybe not so much bad. There would be times when financially I'd find myself in a pretty tough spot and I'd have to pawn a couple of things. But these are some really great people that work here. This is also the same place that I bought a Canon and a Nikon. Now, I really don't use those particular cameras anymore. I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, I kind of lost them after the accident. But they have a lot of really cool stuff here that I really remember. Really great people. And as we're driving down memory lane, I just felt like I just had to talk about them. They are some good people. And over here on the other side of town, that is Mandarin United Methodist. And I will say, I grew up Methodist, but they had two particular events that they did every single year that were just so awesome. And they were just so cool that in the fact that they did it. But in the fall, they would do a pumpkin patch. Like, you could buy big pumpkins, little pumpkins, you name it. And during Christmas, the holiday season, they would sell Christmas trees. But I don't know if you can see it, but there is a cross right there. I mean, it was a pretty cool place. It was at this particular Panera Bread where I'd watch a lot of YouTube videos. I would edit my videos. Sometimes I would wait upwards of about an hour and a half to get them uploaded. A lot of good memories that are in this Panera Bread. This is also where I used to do a lot of my Zoom meetings when I was working on Dark Tales of the Old City. But I figured while we're out in the area, let's stop out here as well. And if you turn around across from Panera, you have a very lovely gardenscape. I think that's what I liked about this spot so much, is after Earth Fair closed, there was a time that I was going to Publix and using their Wi-Fi. But a few issues arose in that. But I really loved coming out here. And like sometimes when my videos would be uploading, sometimes I would go into Dollar Tree or Mystical Mountain or Staples. By the way, there's an interesting story with that Staples. You see, when I finished my book Moonshine Run and I printed it off, I did not think that printing 300 pages would cost a lot of money. Well, it does. It cost me about, I think it cost me about 30 bucks, I think. But that's also at the same Staples I used to, no, that was another Staples, but I used to get business cards made for Dream Poet. But it's just so beautiful out here. Just calming music, not a care in the world, and a big giant diesel truck. Now, right across the street from Panera, you had another, well, not an institution, another business that I used to frequent. You see, this was like going all the way back in the first couple of weeks of me living here. I didn't really know where to go or spend much of my free time. In fact, when I got into magnet fishing, I actually magnet fished at a pond that's over there that's gated. But here at this Walmart, I used to walk around all the time. And sometimes I'd get bored. Sometimes I'd buy stuff that I didn't really need. Most likely stuff that I didn't really need. But that's the particular speciality of this Walmart. Now I also remember there was one time where this guy had this really beat up car, but he turned his car, I think it was like a Honda Civic, into a into almost like a van, like, you know, like van living. But anyway, a lot of good memories. Now there are a few really fond memories I have here at this park. A lot of good memories where a wrong was righted. I guess you could say that in that regard. But this is Walter Anderson Memorial Park. This is a series of ball fields that are out here in Mandarin. And there is a very cool story about these ball fields. You see, Walter Anderson, he was a black gentleman, and he was also my former boss and friends, well, still a friend, it was Angela's grandfather, Angela Burney's grandfather, and he owned this property. And during at a time between segregation and abuse, judgment just because of the color of one's skin, there wasn't really a whole lot of ball fields for the black community, the black youth, to play in. So Walter Anderson, he allowed these kids to play on his property. And that is the fascinating history behind this particular ball field. And I also hear that it's haunted as well, or at least so Angela and other friends that I worked with at the time said. And I believe it was right here. Oh no, it was right over in the actually no, long story short, I'm standing in the right spot. Looks like they have built a basketball court. This is where they did the inaugural ceremony on changing the name of Walter Anderson Park. Because of his donation, a group of kids got to play ball, and it didn't matter what color their skin was, or their skin tone, or their skin pigment. And I'm glad that I got to be a part of history that day. It was really cool. But now that we have seen this, we're gonna go to another job of mine. In this place, it really got me going in terms of my career field. Well, I won't say career field, it added a new career skill, another career skill that I got to do. And that, of course, is Take 5 oil change. It's been too long for me being out here, because here at this Take 5 I had a lot of interesting memories, a lot of life lessons I learned. I really matured as a person working here. I mean, that's the cool thing. That's probably why I think of my former boss Ken Ludke as a life coach, because he told me how it was. And before I left, he told me that I'd be 400 pounds when I came back. But that was Ken. Ken would often tell you how it was, but at least you knew where you stood with him. How you doing, kid? Anyway, there's also another cool thing about this Hooters right over here. You see, back when I used to work here, I used to come to this Hooters all the time, and sometimes I used to wait on the order on purpose so I didn't have to come into work during like peak times when like everyone and their cousin was here. Yeah, but that was the memories that I had with this particular Take 5. A lot of good memories, and I miss it. And I remember there was this one time we had to dig out a ditch, and I don't think that Ken wanted to pay for it, or Kenny. So what we did, or what he did, is he had us do it like here, and we dug it. And anyway, I remember that. And then there was also another time where there was a big giant tornado that happened, and it was a minor tropical storm. Well, us guys were standing here in this in the office watching it all go by. It was really weird and scary. I remember those moments. I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of other good, interesting times. I remember one time when I road dogged and I had the luchador mask. That was interesting. I got a lot of attention there. Trying to think about some of the other times that, like I said, there's a lot of special moments here that I grew as a man, and you know, this place really helped me out. This is also the first job that I had that had insurance, which is also kind of why I miss it. And they still do 25% off on military. A lot of good memories here, and I miss it. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go to one more spot. And well, this spot, it is the marina where my boat is at, or what was my boat. Some stuff happened, and I'll explain along the way, but I don't know, it's just really hard to, I don't know, I often think back, you know, if maybe I had stayed behind a little bit longer, where would I have been, you know, now down here? Would I even still have my boat? You know, that part I don't really know. So we're gonna head over there. We're going to head over there to about as close as we can get to it. What do you call a pile of catfish? A mountain. At least I like to see that they still have the good jokes. There were a lot of times that I had financial hardships while living here in Florida. It mostly had to deal with the job that I had at the time, having no money, but really my living expenses weren't all that bad. As you all know, I lived on my sailboat, which that really cut down on rent and whatnot. But sometimes things happen, and sometimes times change. And I know quite a bit. I used to have to walk along this particular sidewalk to get to work. I know one time I had to walk all the way up to Take 5 just to get to work. But that kind of leads me to why we're here. And then I forgot to mention this as well, also why we are out here. You see, when I first got my start here in Florida, when the sun would go down and I was by myself, I didn't have anyone or anything to my name except my boat, I used to put on my headphones and I used to listen to music, and I used to walk along the bridge at night. And usually I used to have a lot of fantasies about what it would be like to get my book published, what it would be like to have a successful YouTube channel, or maybe if my dreams really did come true and I got to be an actor of celebrity status. Although I think that's really a dream that a lot of people have. But 5 years later, I'd say I'm doing pretty good. I got 2 books, a semi-successful YouTube channel, and well, technically I still do have a sailboat, but we are here at Mandarin Holiday Marina. In fact, if you look right in the middle, that is the mast to my boat. And there I am again, talking like I used to in the beginnings of my vlogs. Again, I really only talk like that because I don't want to say or anything like that. And sometimes I just even lose track of thought. But you all must be wondering, why am I not going up to my boat? Well, there is a good reason for that. You see, financially, the last few months, I've not done well whatsoever. Now, I mean, as of like now, I'm doing really well financially. But all the way back in June, I put my boat on the market and I tried selling it. At first I thought I could get for what I wanted for it, but then it went down in price. People wanted less and less for it until finally I got a phone call from somebody who just wanted to give me $500 for it, and by this time I'd probably say I was way more in the hole with the marina than actually getting the money for it. So I just had to do what I had to do. I abandoned it. And so that's why I'm out here, not out checking on it, is because it is no longer my boat. It is the marina's, sadly enough. But anyway, guys, this has been a fun origin video. I'm glad I got to take you all back in time. Kind of hate how this is how the video has to end, but I just couldn't do it anymore. Financially, it was wrecking me, and I just couldn't do it anymore. But I do have another sailboat, the Yontu. But anyway, you guys, remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. And again, you guys, thank you all so much for the 7,000 subscribers. Love y'all. Peace out, you guys.